Hey there, Angry Hobbit, car camping with cats, and I'm finally going to do a video on the Kelly Kettle. Now, I'm only going to be using it to boil some water, make coffee, but I wanted to just show you how easy this is. So, this is just going to be a little bit of tinder. Don't really need it for how dry the burnable stuff is, but I just want to show you how really easy. So that's just 3 empty oatmeal packets. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using pine cones. Now, that's one of the things that I love so much about this Kelly Kettle is how versatile it is with what you can burn. So right now, I just got a couple of big monster pine cones in there. And I'm going to, well, there's baby girl coming out to make sure that I'm doing it right. And you've seen this before. This is my hand torch that somebody gave me. And this is really the only way I could figure out how I could do this one-handed, because as I mentioned in the previous video, you know, I like to use a Bic lighter and a candle, but doing this one-handed, I figured this would be the easiest way. So the way this works, I'm just going to turn the gas on, light me a cigarette, and then, as I've shown you before, there's that little hole. So here we go. Sorry if that's blurry. And I just lit the paper. So this might be a longish, kind of boring-ish video, because I'm gonna let it run until it actually boils. That should only be a few minutes. So you see, I got this little. This is what I got my stuff on. This is just a fire pit in my friend's backyard. You see, I'm still living outside, quite happily actually. They invite me inside all the time, and so you see, this is just gonna keep throwing little bits of wood right in the top. I don't know if you can hear that, but the heat is already activating. You hear that? Probably not. So this thing's really badass, by the way. Said it was given to me, so I think that's the brand name if you're interested in looking for this one specifically. Scorch. There we go. It's got gas gauge, not gauge, you know, it slides back and forth, give you, you know, higher, bigger flame. Then this is a lock thing that I don't really use, because all it does is it locks that plunger in place. So, and what I did off camera is I put water in there. I don't know if you can see it. The reflection will pick up on camera. And I've gotten to the point, I mean, I use this literally every day, that you know, I don't like stuff it full of wood. I get enough in there to burn, and you know, it's just kind of a thing where I know that I will have to add a little bit more in there. And one of the things and this is all stuff just scavenged out of the backyard. I mean, but you can use anything that's flammable. I mean, I prefer to use stuff that aren't toxic, obviously, using the pine cones. And I just always have this little pile here, and then I have a couple of, you know, grocery bags that I've gathered some other stuff. But every once in a while, I'm just gonna throw a piece of wood in there so it doesn't go out. I don't know how well that flame picks up on the camera, but I mean, sometimes you can get a good foot and a half worth of flame out of the top of that. This thing works like a rocket stove, because you have your forced air induction in that little hole that I showed you before, and then the kettle itself operates like the chimney. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that the whole purpose of this is that it's a water jacket. So its whole purpose is set up like this, because there is a hobo soda attachment that you may have seen in a prior video that was supposed to be a how-to, and of course I forgot to do it back then. But this is just sitting on a fireproof fire pit that nobody uses, and I figured it was better than scorching the ground or using anything to prop it up with. Still burning. See that? Nice little happy fire in there. Another thing I do is I don't know if you can hear that, but it's close. We're at 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes of the video, and the water is already almost ready to boil. So that's what I like about this. I mean, I use it several times a day for making coffee. I haven't cooked on it in a little while just because I've been buying stuff that, well, it's, I have those oatmeal packets. I love oatmeal, and it's a good snack. It's a good thing to fill up on. But so that's pretty much the whole thing. Right now, I'm just, like I said, just waiting for it to boil. And I won't bore you with well, it's kind of hard for me to show you pouring the water into my coffee pot, which is just a cheap, Bowdone, I think it is, coffee press. Just keep throwing a couple pieces in there at a time, because I know I don't need a lot. I don't need a big monster fire, which is one of the things that I love about this. And I always have my chair where I'm going to sit and drink my coffee, which is in there. It's set up so that I can see the fire base after I've pulled it, and it's going to burn. And rather than pour water on it and just soaking the bottom, my supervisor, here's my baby girl, a little bit, just making sure that I do things correctly. It's a high point of my existence is hanging out with my cats. I don't know how people feel about that, but I love them, and I don't consider myself a cat person. I'm just a person who has cats. So just another little stick. See, I mean, you don't have to use. Well, I'd rather not use that anyway, just because I don't know what it's been treated with. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of pine, just because it burns kind of dirty. There's a lot of creosote. But it makes it. But pine is super flammable. I mean, I love these pine cones. Some of them are a little big, as far as trying to push them down to the top. Let's see if I can find a. Well, I got little stumpy hands, so you're not really going to see a good. But it's not a big space. Maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches across. This Kelly Kettle is the Scout, which is the medium. It says it holds 41 ounces, but you really want to make sure that you're below, the lip there, because it's just going to spit. And, I don't, it's dangerous. It's hot water, burn yourself. I know it's a silly thing to say to a bunch of grown-ups, but yeah, I mean, seriously, check this out. Just little pieces of pine cone. And how easy is that? And I'm not saying that's the only thing you can use. I'm just using it as an example of how easy things can be. You know, as I'm heating up my water, my things are burning good. I'll throw another stick in there. I mean, there are other ways to do it. If you're in a big hurry, you can always. This could have gone a lot faster if I had put a whole crap load of wood, but because I'm not going to be cooking on it, I was only putting in enough to keep the fire going. You see those embers down there? Of course, when I say it's super quick, and now we're at almost 11 minutes, it hasn't boiled yet, but it's close. But as far as fire starting, I mean, just use whatever your favorite form is. I mean, that's one of the great things is you're not locked into anything. Back to that video I called options. I used the torch just because it gave me, a way to do this without having to put the camera down. Of course, because I'm actually doing a video, things are going slower than normal. This is my second pot for the day. Just gonna use this to stir things around. I don't recommend doing it this way at home, but see the fire's going again. I should have, well, instead of wandering off to grab those pine cones, should have been paying more attention. But, I'm still learning as far as what little I need. Let me know if you're interested in me talking about the Haven hammock. I mean, again, it's something I use every day. Not sponsored by anybody, which is pretty obvious, I guess. So I'm just scavenging for the next time I want to burn something. And yes, it has been. Sorry, that's the air conditioner. And we're done. So the way to do this is you pick it up 90 degrees with the handle, and boom. But I love that green top. As you could hear, it's a nice little whistle. And it would have gone faster if I hadn't kept taking the cap off, because it releases some of that built up heat. And there you go. That's gonna burn out in just a few minutes. There's gonna be almost nothing left of it. But that's a Kelly Kettle. Like I said, this is the medium-sized one. It's rated for, I think it's 41 ounces. There's another one that's smaller that's about 30, I think. And then there's a big one. The base camp is 64 ounces, I believe. In some ways, I wish I'd bought the big one. But because I knew space was going to be an issue, I went with the medium-sized one. And that's enough water for me to get about a pot and a half of water out of a 32-ounce coffee pot. So, and it works for me, It's super convenient. Like I said, anywhere that you're allowed to use I don't know if you can see that barbecue grill in the distance, but anywhere that you're allowed to use a barbecue, hibachi, whatever. Anywhere that you're allowed to cook, you can use this thing. And I highly recommend it. I think it's an amazing product. But this video is going long. It's almost 15 minutes. So I'm gonna call this a video. My supervisor has gone in there probably to relax now that she's all stressed out. But so this was an Angry Hobbit camping with cats. Hope you liked the video. Please like, share, subscribe if you enjoy the content. I'm trying to come up with more ideas while I'm staying here. The job thing didn't work out, so yeah, I pretty much spend my time in there sharing or learning. I watch a lot of videos throughout the day. See that? Basically, it's already going out. Just gonna give it a little shuffle, and whatever's left over is burnable for next time. Talk to you in the next one.